Hey guys, welcome back. So build is done. We're looking forward to today. Today is Dyno Day. We're here with TJ from TMS. TMS is going to get this car dialed in, see what kind of performance we can get out of it. Hopefully we did our job and we're happy with the end results. TJ?
Thank you for having it here. We have the Gulf Coast only in-ground DynoJet 224X with load control, so we can simulate real-world driving characteristics here on the dyno without having to go out, break speed limits, put people in danger. Like I said, only one that's in-ground on the Gulf Coast, accommodates all low vehicles. We're looking to make some power with this thing today. We're going to start off just kind of moving through pump gas, go ahead and get everything set up for that, and then we'll swap pulleys and it's party time.
All right, so predictions are, what kind of horsepower are you thinking? It's not your first rodeo, so
right.
What are you thinking?
Something like this on pump gas, probably somewhere around 700,
okay.
If I had to guess. And then on E85, the fuel system's really going to be what decides where we stop with that, but I really think we can probably, if the pulley makes what you were told it makes by the manufacturer, I think we'll probably end up somewhere around 900.
Awesome. That's what we were shooting for. So that was our number going into this.
Yeah.
That was the target. That was the target number.
Yeah. I hope to try to get it there for you today.
Awesome, man. Thank you. Appreciate it, brother.
It's going to be somewhere around 38%. So it'll scale the fuel flow and it'll scale the timing basically. So everything should stay well adjusted. And we kind of do the pump gas. Do the spiciest part with the E90 in there, with pure E90 in it, with the Ignite, and then you go back and just kind of interpolate in between, and it usually comes out fine.
What not? I think it's just probably I had a little bit too much in the overflow.
Okay.
You got some pig mat? I'll put it down for you.
Yeah, that's coming out of the fuel tank. PID right there, so 8, 9, 10, 11,
Right at 12.
11.75, 5783. So yeah, it'll make 12 and some change if it keeps on going. I mean, it's still tracking, so I think it'll do pretty well. So Century blowers, as you're probably aware, have a nice linear diagonal power band. So as long as the blower stays efficient, your throttle body and your intake stay efficient, the more RPM you give it, the more it's going to continue on its little trajectory. Now you mentioned wanting to spin this up to like 7,400. Do you have the valve train for that? What lifters are in this motor?
Johnson.
Short travel?
Short travel.
Axle oil?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And comp cams, BSR, shaft, factory style rockers.
Okay.
So it's the factory offset rockers.
Yeah.
Because they're factory heads, but they're on the shaft. So keeps any deflection and stuff like. According to comp, you can spin those.
Yeah.
Pretty fast.
Yeah, they'll take some abuse. I just wanted the lifters are the big part. The rockers are important, but they're not as important.
Yeah.
Stock LS rockers will handle some abuse, but the lifters though,
they're 80 chromoly push rods.
Okay.
What else did we do to the valve train, Jacob?
Springs.
Oh yeah, it's springs is whatever cam motion told me I needed for the cam.
Okay.
So theoretically, according to everybody and what they say, and of course it's all everybody's different shit, right? So according to what they say, I can spin it faster than that if I wanted to. But 74 is more than enough for what I'm going to do with this car.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
Because I don't think that he changed any of that when he did the tune the last time. I'm pretty sure that's at the stock red line. So it's going to red line at 58.
He'll change it. What rods are in this motor? Do you know?
Yes. Eagle. Eagle forged.
The H-beams?
They're H-beams.
Do you know if they have the ARP 2000 hardware?
They do.
Okay.
Yeah. Engine's built, so TSP says the engine's built to handle 1,000 horsepower.
Okay.
Which means it'll actually handle about 1,1400 without an issue.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, a stock LS will handle 1,1400 without a problem.
For a little while.
For a while.
Couple pulls.
That's what's still in stitch.
Yeah. Stock LS motor, bottom end.
So they built stitch to see what the limit was. And he said, and when I was talking to Dave, he said, I never really found it. He said, but now we're going to make it fast. So he's pulling that stock bottom end out. It had, the top end was different, but it was a stock LS bottom end with forged internals. They're not completely stock, but stock block in that. This is going to be 6,500, adding some timing. Right now we haven't put any timing in it, so we're slowly bumping up the RPM so we make sure that we've got good fuel. So this is going to be 6,500 RPM pull with timing added. We'll see what kind of power we start making.
Remember your rev limiter.
Did you rev out?
Yeah, I think
Right at 58?
you didn't remember your rev limiter.
He probably assumed that it was already changed, like somebody else did the job.
Yeah, probably so.
Something like 570.
Did it really?
Yeah, 567.
570 at 58?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna make some power. Yeah, I'm happy. But the fact that at 6,000 we are still on a very, very good trajectory there. I do think this thing will make power at least to 7,000. That manifold is good for high RPM, and you've got the good throttle body on it. I'm excited to see what it does. The cool part about
rectangular port heads.
Oh yeah. The cool part about Century cars is as long as you're not out of CFM on the blower and you don't run into belt slip, you have an intake that supports it, they'll just keep making more power as you pile on the RPM. So they don't become a restriction. I like it.
Fuel pressure at the top end. We're going to try to tweak the regulator and see if we can get some more fuel pressure out of it.
Okay. Now your return, is that funneled away anywhere, or is that just dropping it straight down on top of the pump?
Wherever it goes into there.
Pointing, you may be cavitating your pumps. With you running two pumps, 100% duty cycle all the time, the way you have them wired, as the regulator returns fuel to the tank, it's shooting a jet of fuel down into the tank, and it'll cause air bubbles in the tank as it goes from free air into it, just like running a sink, water into the sink. It's going to get air bubbles down into it. Those air bubbles go through the pump, cavitates, causes the pressure fluctuations it's got. The best way to avoid that would be to put a right angle fitting on the bottom and return the fuel to the side of the tank away from the pump basket. That way it shoots the fuel over at the side and it runs down the side. It does not aerate the fuel as much.
Okay.
That's my idea of what's going on, just based on the fact that we're seeing a pretty good pressure fluctuation.
So that is the return there. on
Yes.
the side.
Shooting straight down at the pump.
Yep.
And that will, if it's not completely full, that can start to cavitate and aerate your fuel. How much fuel's in it right now?
It's barely 1/8 of a tank.
Yeah, we're cavitating. Okay, so we can go get a couple gallons of 93 real quick and throw it in there, see if it solves the problem a little bit.
Okay.
And that'll also tell us, is it a regulator issue or are we aerating fuel?